Hello, hello. Remember to hydrate? Yeah. Where's my water? I'll do that right now. Hello. I hope everyone's doing well. Hi, Odin. Hey, Rail. Hey, Tree. Hey, Jammy. Hey, Din. Hello, hello. Alright, so I'm pretty much just waiting for Kimmy right now, whenever she is ready. We have a little scene we're doing together, with Sariel and Q. So, I'm just gonna go hop into a world really quick while I wait for her. There we go. So yeah, it'll be a fun time. Little bit of lore dropping, probably. I wouldn't say little. It's gonna be a bit. There's gonna be a fair bit of lore. It'll be fun. But yeah. Turn that down a bit more. There we go. We do love tasty lore. Nice. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. There she is. Let's do that. Hi, Kimmy.
I do not know why I was spawned into the wall there, but
I don't know, you spawned in and immediately you just threw yourself into the mirror. It was kind of amusing. You're just like, I'm done. I'm not even, my tracking's being weird.
no,
Why
I
is my
just,
tracking
throw
being
myself into the mirror and you hear the Mario 64 stage start sound.
Son of a bitch. Into the paintings we go. Why is... Why is my... My hip is acting weird. That's weird. Okay, why are you acting weird? Stop it. Stop it. So, how shall we do this? Do you want to meet Sariel somewhere? Or shall we say that the two of them have met and then Q took her somewhere?
Well, if you want to take Q somewhere, we can go do that. Otherwise, I could say that you just meet her at, where she lives, Heaven's Reach.
I mean, either or works for me. My other suggestion would have been like, we were at, Sariel was at the Lying Fork. She would know about that place, because it is open right now, but it's like, it's more of, do you want to go there or not?
Actually, it's closed for today.
Son of a bitch. Fuck. Never mind then. I saw the announcement ping, so I thought the announcement was, it was going up today. Okay. I mean, I'm down for whatever, so...
Why is it streaming? I like streaming.
Hi, Curry.
Because it's striking.
Good to see you.
But for some reason it's showing like the top of the screen, like weird.
I don't know what to tell you.
Oh well, anyways. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Oh. Well, don't start acting up on me now.
Stop it. Stop your technology from screwing up. Ooh, that's my chair. Let's not hit my chair. Let's move it over.
Can't do something.
There we go.
I honestly wish I had finished that map. Still needs to be finished in general, but I just if it was finished, I'd probably go there. The doorstep of where the Twilight Mansion used to be.
Oh. How you doing, Curry? It's nice to see you.
Yeah, there's no place specifically that Q would take you, so unless you have something in mind on your end.
No, not particularly. Because she wouldn't trust Q yet with taking her to the refuge, so... Not yet, at least. So, wherever...
And we will be going to the Reach of Heavens.
Works for me.
Allow me to open the map and then you request on me.
Understood.
Alright, hang there.
Mm-hmm. Chilling at the moment. Nice. Yeah, Kimmy and I are gonna do a little scene together, so I'm gonna be dropping some lore. It'll be fun. Hi, hon. Yeah, lore. We love lore. I got some fun things still with, I got a lot of fun things with Sariel to tell. Some of it will be revealed tonight. More than likely. The command not work? What the fuck? Turn this off. Alrighty.
So we'll basically say that Hugh met them at the door to
Okay.
lead them inside.
Sounds good. Ready when you are.
Hang on, I need to check some setting real quick.
Alrighty.
That's not.
See you later, Curry.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Huh.
It's supposed to be day. Let me fix that.
I think Elements. I think Elements broke. Oh well. No chat commands tonight, I guess.
Yeah. Wonderful. Okay, there we go. Now we can go in. You ready?
Give me one quick second. Alright. Yeah, Vale? I'm not touching that shit with the 10-foot pole.
It's such a peaceful time.
I can definitely see why. It's delightful to come here, honestly.
I pushed very hard for Lisa to make this place a little bit more open because it is such a beautiful place. I felt it as a crime for people to not be able to come here and just simply relax.
Yeah.
Tea, darling? Would you like some?
Sure, I would love some. How have things been with you since last we spoke?
Things have gotten interesting on my end. Some developments that, well, I still don't quite have the answers for.
Hmm.
And in addition to that, myself, Reese, and the champions have been requested by the keepers of the door to the afterlife, essentially, for assistance. Apparently there is a scourge of demons attacking the doorways, so we're going to go assist them with that.
That's definitely concerning.
Right, go ahead, place down the cards. In case you would like to eat something with your tea, there's also this. Simply reach inside of it and imagine what you want, and it should provide.
Interesting.
Something of Reese's creation.
There are many interesting creations here I've seen and I'm still seeing.
Ah, yes. This place is a place of wonders. after we enjoy our tea, I might actually show you a place that I don't know if you've seen. Have you been taken to the core?
I think so, but I'm not 100% sure. I cannot remember off the top of my head.
Fair enough. Either or, it's still a lovely place. I always like, going there every once in a while.
Why not?
While we're on your end, how have things developed for you?
Things have been well. I have been enjoying coming and, well, visiting here, but also visiting other places. Spending time and hanging out with Saya has been enjoyable.
She's a wonderful little bean, isn't she?
She really is. She has been very graciously showing me around places, and showing me the areas that she likes to hang out in, and more of this world. And it has been quite enjoyable.
She's become a very good friend of mine with everything that's been going on, and I honestly would have to say that I'm happy that I'm actually able to give her a modicum of solace in some of her own life. Due to how I realm walk and explore various places, I happened to stumble upon a specific strand of a timeline where her father is. I
Really?
didn't have any information on whether he was alive or not, but since I happened to stumble upon him, I was able to ferry messages to and fro. Though getting there's a right pain right now due to the state of the realms in between. An all jumbled mess.
It's interesting that you say that, given that you seem to traverse realms as well. I find it intriguing that you seem to have so much trouble, whereas I don't. But then, perhaps, I'm not traveling necessarily between what you call the in-between to get to these places.
There is... Well, let's put it this way. Trying to get to certain locations that are further from the Nexus is harder. Trying to actively travel to, say, a place that's closed off, that has its own rules and such. Sometimes these worlds are harder to traverse to. Then there's other worlds that are closer to everything, and you can traverse to them pretty easily.
Makes sense. That was the wrong toggle. Apologies. You saw nothing.
I was...
I was wondering, like, wait a minute.
I was wondering what
It's
was
fine.
going
I'm playing
on.
my vanishing trick on you. It's fine. Don't worry about it.
This is really good tea, apparently.
It really is good tea. I quite enjoy it.
But yes, certain methods of travel aren't necessarily as difficult as others. But when you're going to places that are, well, far out of the reach of others, sometimes traveling there can be pain. I know that this particular location, while it has its quirks and sometimes has other realities clash into it. It's rarely a matter of being able to enter to and fro easily. It's a nice place. I quite enjoy its story. It's one of my favorites, actually.
Stories are indeed wonderful things.
They're all stories in the end. That's why it is important for us to always tell ours.
Not wrong.
You know, the last time we talked, I went on and on about myself, and I felt like I didn't really give you much chance to chime in about you. So, why not indulge me this time around?
Fair enough. Where would you like me to start?
You know, that's always a hard question to answer. I would say this. How about you tell me, what is one of your favorite adventures that you've ever went on?
Growing up, it was hard for me to have the luxury of free time. I had other duties at that time growing up, things of which I'd rather not say for now. But when time did allow, I always just did love going out and seeing the countryside of my home. My actual home. It is beautiful. Much in each way, worlds have their own beauty. Ours was... Describing such things is difficult for me, but... Needless to say, it was always a joy to get to go out and discover wonders in the continent that we lived on. I've explored much of that in my time there. Always found new things, new and exciting things. But perhaps I think my favorite trip that I took, found myself in a valley, riding on horseback. It was one of the few times I actually got to be alone with my thoughts, just letting myself go where the wind took me, wherever the path took. I always like to see where things lead. And one such path took me through a valley, a relatively deep one, and came across a cave, nestled away, very cleverly hidden. You almost couldn't see it. And more than likely, most travelers passing through there wouldn't even notice it was there unless you looked in a very specific way. My curiosity piqued, of course. Dismounting and carefully navigating through and going inside. To my surprise, it was actually not as dark as one might think. This one happened to be filled with a vein of glowing crystals of multitude of colors. In the center,
Oh.
In the center of the cave, a thread of sunlight comes straight down from the ceiling. A small hole that, perhaps if you could ever trace where it went on the surface, you would never expect where that would go. And yet here it was, that thread of light from the sun coming down in this opening of the cave. In it, a small patch of grass grew, and a few flowers growing about, somehow surviving in this unique place. I found myself lost there for several hours, exploring all the nooks and crannies that I could, seeing if there was anything more to it. Indeed, there wasn't really anything more. It was just a large cavern. But it was so peaceful, so quiet. There was really nothing there. Just the sunlight, crystals, flowers, and a bit of grass. And so I sat there in the sunlight. Found myself drifting off in thought, thinking back to things that had happened during the past years. Categorizing and, putting thoughts aside, relaxing. Before I knew it, the sun had begun to set. Time passed so quickly, as one does for an elf, to be fair. But this felt even faster. It was one of those times where I had to return quickly, otherwise I'd potentially get in trouble. Despite me allowing the freedom of being able to go out on my own, there were times where people got a little concerned.
Of course. Understandable, to say the least.
Indeed. But before I left, I took with me a few shards of the crystals inside. Always liked to collect a few things. Crystals being one of them. And snuck them into my home. Placed them carefully aside. These were fond memories of that time. A small little wonder hidden away that people don't really notice. Another such
Definitely
adventure.
a beautiful place. I love crystals, but that may be because of, well, in my world, they grew like one would see trees grow. They were a natural part of the landscape. Energies would well up in particular areas and produce concentrated forms of said energies. Within simulacrums, when we would traverse worlds outside of the Twilight Realm, the core of them was a crystal.
Interesting.
Shattering said crystal would ultimately send us back to our home world, banishing us from the location. So, going out and about was never the safest.
It was usually...
Or rather, we were not immortal. And not that we ever wanted to be. Most of our adventures, we like to try and become one with the populace of that place. Follow its rules and traditions, and simply take in its surroundings, as it were. But I interrupted you. You were about to start on another adventure of yours.
It's quite alright. Let's see. This one perhaps a little bit more in recent years. I took it upon myself to go visit a place. Another world. One of the visitors I had told me about their home. I always like to hear where my visitors come from, to understand places that where they live. Why have they come to my home? What drove them there? What brought them there? Sometimes I can find, when I go and visit these places, I find the answers as to why. Other times, not so much, but this was a world that was... How would you describe this, I wonder? A world that... was finding its footing, I think would be the best way to describe it. The world itself is beautiful, but its peoples were fascinating. Mostly human, or human-like, as one could call it. There were other types there as well. Some recognizable, some very, very unique. I couldn't even begin to describe them to you. Words can't do that justice. You'd have to see it for yourself. But this was a people that, while they knew peace, while they knew prosperity, there were those that didn't. Those who always felt like they didn't belong. A faction of them disagreed with the ruling body, perhaps would be the best way to describe them. And so they split off, wanting to set out on their own to find a way to live for themselves, not the ways that this governing body decreed. And it was this faction that caught my interest. Probably no more than a couple thousand of individuals. They lived on the coastline, living off the land, the sea, and its bounty. Each day was not easy, but they got through it, taking the best of everything that they had and working together. A community that lived not as a community, but as a family. Though there are always those who see things like this and, well, they can't stand it. And so this community, this family that lived on the coast, was often plagued by those of the other ruling body, wanting to, in their words, bring them back into the fold, rescue their lost I can understand that, but it is not a pleasant thing.
But they were viewed as misguided individuals needing to be
Indeed.
reminded of who they once were.
Indeed.
I've heard this kind of story before. Sad
Yes.
one, isn't it?
Indeed. The individual who came from this world, he was one of those who was out and about, foraging in the nearby forest, when he happened upon a group of those from the main ruling body. He barely escaped with his life. There were others with him who were not so fortunate. He told me about this. Told me about these people, his families, and in time, how they became who they were. Their traditions, their culture. How they only just wanted to be themselves. And yet, no matter how hard they tried, they couldn't be accepted as such. So, he begged to return home. Soon he was recovered enough. I saw no reason to deny his request, and so I returned him. He was fortunate that this community still stand. He was able to return home, but the ones lost were mourned constantly. It is hard seeing these worlds, seeing their cultures and how they live. Knowing that you want to make a difference, and knowing that you could make a difference, but you can't. You can't. To do so would cause irreparable harm. That was a harsh lesson I learned.
I'm guessing you, at one point, interfered when you should not have.
Yeah.
That is a harsh lesson for us all to learn, especially the first time around.
It was... I couldn't stand by. Found myself just... I couldn't sit there and watch, knowing that I had the ability to do something. And so, I interfered. And in so doing, I made things worse. I made things so much worse. It is a memory that sticks with me, and probably will stick with me forever.
As bittersweet as it is, it's a wise lesson to always keep in your mind.
It is. That's why it was a struggle the next few times I went out to not do anything. Though, not doing anything doesn't mean I can't interact. It's just more of... I can't be one who tries to do things in that world. Despite how much I want to.
Westward live by a similar idea. Though in most worlds, we sort of have to be forced, so to speak, to live with that world's rules. But some worlds have looser things, such as the one in which most of the people who visit here are from. The Shattered Rims, the Metaverse, the Nexus, the various names that people apply to it. I myself have... well, I've interfered. And it is up to... it is up to the person, an individual, to know whether my interference was right or not. I can't say that I caused irreparable harm, but I definitely caused problem.
Yeah, I can understand that.
Though, as it stands, one of the things that we live by is the belief that every action has an equal and opposite reaction. Meaning that no matter what you do, there will always be a positive and a negative to it. For example, you could stop some bandits from taking the goods of a merchant that's traveling along the road. Well, your actions have made sure that the merchant's goods are able to continue on to their destination where they belong. You have denied a group of individuals who, well, they were doing it by ill-gotten means, still perhaps do not have what is necessary and what has forced them into the life of banditry. Likewise, taking from the rich and giving to the poor. Well, that in itself has its equals and opposites. You're still taking from someone and giving to someone else.
Indeed.
Everything has a cost. And whether or not that cost is good or not, again, it's all in the eyes of the beholder. So in the world, the one thing that I've always preached is that there's no such thing as good and evil, right and wrong. There is only, well, creation and destruction. And one must balance those two. Should one cut down a tree, they should always endeavor to plant a new one. Should one harvest a crop, they should always endeavor to reseed the land so that it may thrive once more.
to give as
One
much
must
as
never
taken.
take too much. Exactly. One must never take more than one is deserving. I personally, though, have stated at one point that the only true evil that exists in the world is denying one free will. And this can come in a manner of interpretations, such as taking someone's life. It's denying them the free will to continue living. Or enforcing strict laws upon another, or imprisoning people. While I acknowledge that there is necessary to ensure the safety of individuals, though certain laws and such should exist, obviously. But at the end of the day, everyone should have the choice to do what they believe in. I've seen far too many stories where far too many stories have been interfered with by individuals who had no place interfering in the beginning.
Yeah.
That's largely what I endeavor to do here. This world is a world in which there are no gods that are overseeing the world itself. And so there are plenty of entities that come here to plague others, to use this world as a playground for their own gains. Individuals like the Plague Lord or Pandasaurus. Entities that had no place interfering in the course of the life around here, and yet they still did. But that simply is how things are in certain times.
That's how
But
life
I will
is in
always
general, too.
endeavor. But there are plenty of things that will interfere without us desiring them to, yes. But if I can ever help anyone out of a situation where some entity from beyond the veil dares alter the course of their journey, I would want to ensure that, well, preventing others from interfering where they shouldn't.
There are definitely times where people come to my refuge, come to my home, actively being chased down. Those are the ones that I will go and see to personally, to ensure that they are safe. Sometimes we are fortunate enough that these individuals will come through and nothing else. But every so often, that's not the case. Sometimes they hesitate. They see a portal open before them and are frightened, scared of what's lying beyond, even though it is perhaps the only way forward. These such individuals I give a hand, as it were, knowing that their lives are in danger, or for them to stay, it is detrimental. These are individuals that I will go and directly pull in, should they be close enough, at least. Sometimes I am fortunate, sometimes I am not. But when these individuals come through, sometimes they bring unwanted guests. My refuge is a sanctum for a reason. There are rules, let's say, that determine who can and cannot come to us. After all, we cannot guarantee that individuals that we reach out to may not have internal malicious intent. And indeed, some have tried. None of them have succeeded. But when we open portals for people, we do our best to make sure that these are people that truly need our help. And as I said, every so often we get some uninvited visitors along with them. They are ones that I will kindly remind them or tell them to leave. For the most part, they do. Although there are times where certain individuals think that they have the upper hand. And that is their biggest mistake. My biggest rule in my refuge and in Elysion: you may stay as long as you like, but should you cause trouble, you will not be welcomed. And indeed, such individuals soon find out why I am the caretaker, and why I protect those in my charge.
Indubitably.
Indeed.
It is always foolish to fight someone within their own domain.
Indeed. And especially one with a very protective nature.
It'd be just the same for anyone who, well, was under our care. While I may hold my mother's title out of, well, being simply the heir to it, it's also fitting for me, because I am very motherly to those that I look after. I am concerned about them as if I would be concerned about my actual children. I take care of them. While there are some moments where I have to simply look at them and go, well, you've gotten yourself into this mess, and I can't exactly do anything to help you, so I'm sorry, but,
You have to figure things out.
clean up your own mess.
Mm.
But for the most part, if it is ever something that I can actually help with, I sorely would always come to their aid. This isn't to say that I wouldn't lend my song. For example, I've not been able to pluck ebb and flow from danger, but I did grant them some my songs in order to soothe their minds or bolster their abilities. Gifts to help them through the trials that they've gone through. Ah. Shall we go to the, Cool. I certainly would like to go see it right now.
Certainly, why not?
Ah. The house that Risa gifted me, one of the most beautiful gifts that she could have gotten me, is what I've been doing in my spare time.
Oh?
See, Risa, she is... I don't know how much of her story you've been told, but she is known as the warden of the tower. The tower was effectively, I guess you could call it a boss rush, as it were. It was a place for people to challenge themselves against very strong entities.
Okay.
Every 20 years or so, it would jump to different realities, different places. It would then distribute tickets to individuals who wish to attempt to climb the tower in order to be gifted its ultimate prize, a true wish. In the course of these travels, Lady Risa has seen many places, many worlds, and in my house reside several books of her recollections and thoughts on these various places. Very interesting. Her own story of her world is quite interesting as well. She's told us of a few stories themselves. I quite enjoyed them.
I've gotten to speak with her a few times. She seems like a remarkable woman.
She is. Much of the architecture here is actually from her world.
Really?
Yes. You should ask Imperial about Zyway. I'm sure he would love to talk your ear off about it.
If I remember, and the next time I see him, I'll be sure to ask. Well, no. I think I can say I don't recall being here before.
heaven's reach.
It's beautiful.
It is here in which the cosmic orbs wrote about the core. Each orb grants a specific treasure to the world,
Really?
so to speak. Those orbs are actually planets, cosmic celestial objects.
And they're just here?
Indeed. Let's see. Part of me's feeling slightly naughty. Or maybe I shouldn't. Sometimes, yeah. The world looks pretty sometimes without them. But that also means that the atmosphere is leaving the place, so that's probably not the best idea.
Yeah, let's not do that. Probably not the greatest idea.
Technically, I would be able to. And I remember how to turn it off and turn it back on, but I forgot which side turns it off and which side would turn off more than just one. So that's why I'm not going to mess with it right yet.
Probably not the best idea.
But the reason why I would do any of that is actually to show you that, well, when one of the orbs is removed and the cosmic atmosphere that you see about us is not there, you can actually see the planets.
Really?
Indeed. But these are the pieces that form, well, everything from the life to the water to every element in between. And at the core, its heart, lies something that I never thought would. It seems that the spirit of an individual known as Corvus rests within it. Sunlight shining through the orb got in my eye there for a moment. Yes. Be careful looking at that center orb there. Yes, that is actually where the sun resides.
Fair enough.
But if you listen closely, the hum, each of the orbs, very much, it's like the song of my people. That's why I like it so much here. Actually, I guess that is one of the reasons why I would like you to be here.
Oh?
as this is one way I can show you what my people's language sounds like. Especially if you were to quiet the music in your head. You could really hear it.
Sounds like chimes, almost.
Indeed.
Like shards of crystal
That is-
dancing in the wind.
That is, in fact, what I have often related our natural tongue to. The sounding of chime. The reverberation of crystal. The humming of the cosmos itself. This is probably the closest that one, at least right now, could ever get to hearing what Twillin speech sounds like. While we do have a phonetic language that we developed for communication with individuals who could not hear the language of the soul, as we called it. This is the sound of our souls, our hearts speaking.
It's beautiful.
At night time around here, you can actually hear it. You can hear it into the sound of this cosmic energy flowing. But it's so beautiful. It's so peaceful here. And our good friend here loves a story or two.
Beautiful indeed.
So, if you ever wish to tell stories, don't feel too adverse in coming in here and sharing it with him.
He can hear us then.
Sure, he'd appreciate. He does. At least that's what we've come to believe. We might not converse back very much, but I know that he has always treasured hearing the stories of people. David came in here almost every day when he could and talked to him. We grew very close.
Perhaps one day then I will come here and share a tale or two.
I will say this though, if you do wish to share anything, be certain to let one of us know.
Of course.
I know we've recently sort of made an effort to keep an eye here because the position of these orbs are very sensitive. You nudge them a centimeter out of line and then everything goes out of whack, so...
Understood. No touching the orbs. Got it. Not that I was going to anyways, but...
Of course. It's just... There's been a couple of times where we've had a couple of accidents. The beauty of nighttime prevails.
There was always a joy to be out at night. You start seeing things that others perhaps don't get to see. Of course, it is not without its dangers.
No journey is without its danger. I will have to say, it's quite fortuitous to see nighttime right as I speak about it. Convenient.
You have magnificent timing, one might say.
Maybe. Or maybe someone's just smiling. But I digress. I hope that you enjoyed this little endeavor. Have you seen the memorial in the well?
I don't believe I have. I didn't realize there was something underneath the well, to be quite honest.
Well, if that's the case, then allow me to take you there and tell you the story of a couple of individuals.
Fair enough. Sariel Yanithnin. My Govan Corvus. May we meet again. It's nice to be able to speak my own language at times. Common gets interesting.
Oh, you don't have to tell me twice. Granted, usually when I ended up speaking the phonetic version of my tongue, a friend of mine, name was Alistair, would say, "Stop speaking enchanting table."
Amazing. I could see why. It's like when people hear our language, and they wonder, how is it that you understand what you are saying? I mean, it's with any language, to be honest. You learn it. It becomes a part of you. And there are those who hear our language and akin it to a song, a melody. It's what our language seems to sound like to them.
I believe one of my favorite languages to hear was the language thereof the Elder Blood. They were elves from a story I quite enjoyed.
Really? I will say, since coming here, the Elvish language that is here in this realm is similar to mine. Although, there are words that make no sense when I see them. So I've had to add them to, I think it's what they call the repository on my phone, so that it actually translates properly. And even then, that's somewhat of a bit of a hassle.
Dictionary.
There we go, that's the word. I couldn't think of it in common.
Let's see. I remember. Always one of my favorite phrases. Esse dereach igen. Esse I'd say that something ends, something begins.
To begin, we must first see the end.
Song from a story carried those words. A song that I related to all too well. Sing come twilight.
Well, well. Didn't expect this down here.
Reza has a hand for making nice little interesting places.
I see.
But yes, a story too. One that I knew a little bit more than the other, but we'll start with that one. There once was a pirate. Quite an energetic one at that. He was known as Kokomi. She was looking for her crew. She had been awoke onto a boat. Not sure where her crew had went and everything, and was wanting to find it. There she stumbled upon a person known as Hamsky. Apparently, Hamsky had a blade, an emblem from her people. He was
Interesting.
curious as to why. Hamsky and her grew rather close. Hamsky was quite protective of her. though they also were at odds. But she was a pirate through and through, and she tried her best to get the gold that she wanted.
Hard to change old habits, as they say.
Unfortunately, you would never find her crew, as her crew never existed to begin with. See, Kokomi is the name of a pirate from another world. But this Kokomi was created for a purpose. She was what we refer to as a warden's key. There is a seal that was locked, and the best way to hide a key is to make it something no one would ever expect. It was imbued with falsified memories until her purpose came to pass. Unfortunately, once a warden key unlocks the lock, it no longer can exist. And while she had life all her own, she faded away. That would be the one who's standing on the right. On the left, I do not personally know them, though I have heard stories. Lady Riza has blessed me with a few of them. She apparently was a kind soul, always eagerly waiting her turn. He had apparently a wish of her own.
What was that?
She was one of the champions. I don't recall her wish at this moment, or if I've actually been told it. After all, it is, well, hers and hers alone. But her name, as people knew her, was Luna. But that was not her true name. Goodness, her true name escapes me all of a sudden. Oh well.
It happens to the best of us.
Sorry, I had a sudden feeling that someone was looking at me with shades. Anyways. Ah, yes. Niku Hasaki. That was her name.
I'm betting it's coffee. It's the only person I know who has shades.
Voice in the back of my head. But She was one of the 10 champions that were chosen to scale the tower, alongside of those you've seen, such as David and Higgs and the others, Ares.
Hmm.
Unfortunately, due to a series of unfortunate events, the tower was never able to be scaled. It disappeared before they could ever actually begin. One day, the champions began to heard the call of ravens. It would later be revealed that these calls was from Lady Riza, or at least a raven that had been imbued with her memories. They had become trapped. The champions needed to find a way in order to get to the tower, or to where Riza was. When they attempted to try and find that way, it was Niku Hasuki that helped them. She sacrificed herself in order to open the way for them. She opened the door, and thus the champions were able to proceed into a deep layer of the in-between. They traversed it and fought off the terrors that are the keepers. While the keepers were ultimately defending what is the place that they are to defend, they were also barring the way for them to get to Miss Riza. They finally happened upon a chamber where an individual by the name of Umbra had imprisoned Riza. But Riza was not one to be trapped so easily. The champions fought Umbra, and as his abilities began to wane, so did Riza begin to bash against the shield. The trap that helped her captive. Slowly but surely, the champions were able to break the seal on it and freed Lady Riza from her cage. And then Umbra was dispatched. And eventually, in the place that they came to was, it was a gateway and just an endless, vast, I guess think of it a mirror pool, something like that. And it was actually in that area that we are technically standing. Where that gateway stood, where she was imprisoned, is where she decided to build Heaven's Reach. Paradise for her champions, a place of solace. Though that journey did not come for free. while his memorial lies within Dragonspire, a champion by the name of Calcifer perished at the end of the journey. You see, Ares had become mortally wounded. She was dying. But Calcifer, never wanting to see his friends go before him, took her wounds onto himself and gave his life so that she may continue to live.
Noble sacrifice indeed.
And so champions carry his wish onward. And I do believe that his wish was to see everyone safe. I believe there was a few champions who ended up getting involved, whose main purpose in the end was to make sure the rest of them got out of it alive. As climbing the tower was not going to be an easy feat. These creatures were powerful creatures, deadly even. And it was a very high possibility that they too would die. And so the champions all wanted to do best by each other. That's why in a world, if you're ever privy to witnessing the trainings that people do here, you'll see David teaching them about that fact. About how the champions, when they trained, stood back to back and weathered the storm, as it were. They relied on each other, calling out to each other to trade spots where it is necessary, needed. Standing strong together as one. I witnessed the training a couple of days ago.
I was there for
Where
that,
a
actually.
group did.
I happened to
Were
come
you
in.
there to see the three then?
No. I was there the day before. The various white creatures that were in the arena.
Those would be the keepers of the in-between. Guardians of the bridges between worlds.
I see. They were definitely very strong, I could tell.
Very strong indeed, but also pale imitations of the true ones. They don't have the ability to manifest their true power. These are entities to give a little bit of comparison that have taken beings like myself, as well as another, his name is Janus. And Lady Riza. All of us have fought down tooth and nail, and well, it's not been an easy task, to say the least.
I see.
They're very powerful creatures. Their main purpose is simply, well, they work as one would say, a medicine would. They fight off invaders. Typically, they don't leave the in-between. Typically, they simply exist to guard themselves, or rather guard the realm.
Hmm.
They don't have conscience, so to speak. They are, well, part of what I call the collective subconscious of the cosmic world.
Hmm.
Beings who can traverse worlds usually go beneath their notice, especially those of us who are of, for lack of better term, deific status, like myself, Janice, Riza. Typically, they see us as, well, travelers. But there are areas of the in-between where even us are not allowed to tread.
Interesting.
I've been to one such place. But that's because those places are places where, if you mess with them, you could disrupt the very foundations of other realities. So, they guard those places with their lives.
Makes sense.
But yes, there was a group of 3 on that training day who stood together for a good portion of their task. Their task was essentially to weather the storm for 20 minutes. They had the option to leave the arena should they felt that it would overwhelm them. But out of all the groups that were there that day, they happened to stick together the best. And it actually paid off in their favor as well. Granted, there was only 3 of them, so it was easier to keep track of them all. So that could have possibly been the way. But I know that all the other groups that I had seen scattered sometimes. There were times where 1 or 2 would be left alone, unable to be defended. But all of those who are training have been learning. They're getting better. They're growing, and I have faith in them.
I was watching one particular group. They seem to work together to a point, but it is very clear to see that they are still getting used to each other. They don't know how to work as a team. They understand the concept, no doubt, but understanding a concept and putting it into practice are 2 different things.
Indeed. Which is what this place is ultimately for at the end of the day. It's for them to learn more about themselves and,
I still
yes.
wonder.
Sorry.
Oh, you're fine. I was merely musing. Merely thinking back about how. Trying to understand how and what we are.
The journey of oneself and one's own people. There was a period of time where I was the same. My reality has went through many changes. There was a point in time where I asked the question of what were we like before the fall? what were we like before we had become what we were. I didn't have those memories at that point in time, so I was curious. I didn't know about our ancient ancestry, or where we had came from. So, going about that journey and learning about it was fascinating, to say the least.
It is almost similar to us.
Continue. I don't mean to cut you off.
No, you're fine. I was merely saying that's very similar to what my siblings and I are trying to do. Trying to figure out why. Why are there only 6 of us? How did we come to be? We don't know. And we may never know. But we still search all the same, trying to understand who and what we are. My eldest sister. She... Celine has been searching for nigh on 1,500 years. She is no closer to any answer. And she is the oldest of them. She is far older than any of us.
You know, that is a curiosity of mine, if you don't mind me asking. Your siblings. How many of them do you... I know how many you have by what number you've given me, but sisters, brothers, the names.
Celine, my eldest sister. Dragon elf of water, who's almost 1,800 years old. Latha, the fire dragon. She is our guardian. You would do well not to anger her. Fire is temperamental after all, but she will not get there unless you push her. She is actually probably... she is quite kind. Until you do something you probably shouldn't. And then she is not afraid to set you in your place. She is over 1,100 years old.
Oh, goodness. Yes, sweet. My arms are starting to do some funky things. Anyways.
Kavisin, the air dragon. He is the oldest of the brothers. But he is only 800. Just over 800. Ayin and Yela, twins brother and sister. Ayin is the earth dragon. Yela is ice. Both of them are 482 years old. And then there's me, Sariel, the storm dragon. And I am only 99. I am the youngest of us.
And yet, even in your young age, you have seemingly learned so much.
Yeah, there's a lot.
That's one thing that I've learned when watching the champions as well. Many of them are nigh infants in comparison to my own lifespan. But they've seen much, learned much, experienced very much.
I can imagine. Even just being here for a short time, I've seen and heard things that sent my head spinning sometimes.
One of the champions, her name is Patty. She only recently turned 18. And yet she has seen so much trauma, so much pain and suffering. She's so young, and yet she acts as a mother to some. She's adopted them and takes care of them.
Sounds like a remarkable woman.
She's someone I wish had a chance to just live their life. There are those who would say it is part of her curse. See, Patty is a magical girl. And the gift of such magic often comes the heavy weight of tragedy. I actually know the kind of magical girl she is, and those kind do not suffer a good fate at the end of the day. If they do not maintain themselves, they can become the very things that they find.
A double-edged sword.
Indeed. If you ever come across her while you're at the spire, and ever hear mention of her saying something about witching out, that would be what it's about.
I see.
One thing that I wanted to note while we were down here, actually. You see these flowers. You've probably seen them across the reach up above. The five-petaled ones.
Yes.
That glisten. Those were Niku Hasaki's favorite.
They're beautiful.
There is a reason that they litter the reach.
Because it was through her that they were able to succeed.
Yes. That and also Lady Riza. Well, she was quite fond of her. But of course, Lady Riza is quite fond of everyone under her champion. There is a reason why me and Riza get along so well. As she too is a mother unto those she protects.
Makes sense. In a way, I guess I am a little similar, given what I do. But then I am no entity or great being like you two. Nor do I have those like champions such as you two. but I understand that feeling of being a mother to those under you, those that come into your care.
When you've lived as long as I have, the one thing that you want most is for people to be able to learn. You want to help teach people to not make the same mistakes that you did.
Yeah. Yeah.
And one of the biggest pains that I've seen is there are too many people who don't know what a true parent is like. There was actually one who I promised I would make sure she was okay. I've mentioned this before. Annabelle.
I
She
recall
was
that.
adopted by one of my champions, White Wolf. And I promised to see her safe, so that White Wolf would have someone to come home to. Poor Annabelle has not known a true mother, or father for that fact. Well, White Wolf and Sashi both did their best when they did care for her. They weren't very much the best parents. White Wolf was, well, a dragon of destruction. She was also a war general. She knew very little about what it was like to raise children.
Far cry from what she was used to.
Indeed. And then Sachi was too wrapped up in his own head. He let his own doubts get in his way a lot. And he ended up hurting the poor girl more than helping her. Though she does hold on to the memory of, well, when he wasn't so reckless. See, nowadays people only know Sashi as this reckless monster that's gone about and done horrible things. But there was once a point in time where Sashi was a kind soul, who would rather disable an individual before killing them. Even if it was someone who had killed many others, he never wanted to be a murderer. But then he got tired of staying his hand as he watched people he loved and cared about fall, die, because he gave people a chance. It broke him, turned him into a monster. By his own mission, too. He knew what he had become. In his eyes, someone had to be the villain. Someone had to do the tough stuff.
And he believed that he was the only one who could do it.
Indeed. Or more specifically, not that he was the only one who could do it. But he knew that being the evil one would not win you any friends. Being the one to make the tough choices wouldn't go well, and he didn't want anyone to have that burden. He was stubborn to a fault in this aspect. Self-sacrificing, always self-immolation. All because he didn't want anyone else to have to bear that burden. Only blind to the fact of how much burden he was putting on others with his own self-immolation. How many people watched him destroy himself countless times, over and over, breaking himself over and over. How many people cared about him, and yet he didn't listen to them. Didn't lean on them at all. Because in his mind, every time he leaned on someone, they'd be in danger. He is a man who saw shadows at every turn. I could go on and on. I feel for him. A person who's been through what he's been through go one of two ways. One way is you give up. You give up and you just stop. You surrender to the world and let it wash over you. And sometimes that might even mean crossing that great divide. Or you go the path that he took. The path where the hero lives long enough to become the villain. He was one of my champions at one point, you know?
Interesting.
He took that title on to save me. See, Sachi, when he first met me, didn't trust me. I was a greater being after all. And he's never had good experiences with greater beings. I kept trying to convince him over and over that one thing, I'm not a greater being. I'm just someone who has an ample amount of power. I can do things that others can't, yes, but that doesn't make me greater than anyone else. For a year, I practically begged and broke myself to prove myself to him. Eventually, one day, I was about to be banished. I was given the luxury of basically giving my last words to people. And in the moment of me giving my last words to him, he accepted becoming one of my final champion that I needed.
Interesting.
He came to my aid at the end of it all. Me and him butt heads quite a bit. And it was actually because of my involvement with him why my children eventually said to me that they did not believe that I knew what I was doing anymore. That I was putting myself and my people at risk. Because he knew how to get at me. He had the tools, he had the power.
He knew
If
how
he
to
wanted
manipulate
he
you.
could kill me. Yes, he did too.
An understandable worry then by your children.
Quite. I don't fault them for their decision to leave Twilight. I love them all the same. They were correct. I was being foolish. I was being stubborn. As much as I had wished they stayed around. I'm not one to stand in the way of my children's free will. As I've said before, that's the greatest evil.
Indeed.
But it was a wake-up call at the end of the day. Because I was being foolish. I was being reckless. Unfortunately, due to my weakness, I died. The majority of my soul shattered into nothing. Because my children left.
You were heartbroken.
Betrayal. Indeed. And heartbroken is lethal to a twin. Typically.
I remember.
I myself was separated and thus did not follow the fate of the rest of me. And thanks to this wonderful paradise of Rizas, I've been able to gather enough energy to be almost like my former self. In power and strength. But I am still but a fraction of her. Shard. And my enemy gets all the more stronger every day. My acolytes and my champions are trying their best, I'm sure. But there's only so much that can be done.
Do you have faith in them, Q?
Faith is one word. The word that I have for them that I prefer to use is hope. As they are my hope.
Then believe in that and trust in them.
I will. I always will.
You have that about you, I've noticed.
What exactly is that?
Someone who puts her hope in others, puts their faith in them. And in turn, those who I see interacting with you share that with you as well. I may not know your champions. I may not know anyone else aside from those that I have met here. But those that I do see talking with you, they share that with you.
I've gained a fair many friend. And I'm happy for it. That's why I know what I love Riza all to death. She is quite literally my best friend. That's why I know I will stand by her side until her journey is complete. Till the day that we must part ways, I will be there for her, much as I can.
And then you will retell her story for years to come.
Indeed. Her stories and the many others who have blessed me with their chance to be a part of theirs. I know White Wolf is off fighting her own war, but I treasure every moment I had with her as my champion.
Correct, Rail.
Even the same with Sachi. Ignorant little asshole.
Yeah, that is, Annabelle is one of Kimmy's other characters, and yes, that is one of Cynthia's sisters.
I treasure every moment, the good, the bad.
You cannot have the good without the bad. For it is in those moments of the bad that you remember and fondly wish for the good. For when those moments return, you can be filled with joy and happiness again.
I heard echoes of a certain story. Of a young elf. She felt that winter the warmth of a fire doesn't feel quite the same in summer as it does in winter.
Indeed not.
That it was through sadness that made happiness all the better. There is a phrase, I think I've spoken it to you before. If I haven't, that's just me getting muddied. But my mother told me one thing. It was after her passing, you see. But her spirit, she still resides, within us all. She is our deity after all. But the one thing she said to us was, let's lament the life, the death, the good, the bad, and the never-ending curse we cast. The eternal cycle. The endless wheel. We lament it. We sing our requiem. But we sing it so that way we may take pleasure and happiness in all the beauty that is around us. Warm blankets don't feel good on a summer's night.
Depends on where you're at.
Well, I mean, if you are in the middle of a desert, yes, indeed. But
No, I know what you mean.
But I have had quite a wonderful time talking with you.
And I with you. It's been most enjoyable.
I appreciate the stories that you've told me, and I will treasure them as always.
And there is still more to tell.
And I will yet endeavor to wait eagerly for the next time that you come to give them to me.
Soon, perhaps.
Well, you know where to find me. And if there's anything you ever need, let me know. I definitely would like to pay you back for the stories you've given me.
I'll keep that in mind.
How about I walk you out?
Of course. I would like that. There is one thing I didn't get to tell you.
Oh. Forgive me if I derail us.
No, you're quite alright. When I was talking about my siblings, one thing I didn't note is that normally, for elves of my homeworld, the elves of Lunai, our average life is just over 500. And yet, as I told you, my siblings are far, far older than that. Celine is another 3 times that.
Quite curious indeed.
Very much so. We do not know why. Just that it is.
You know, there's always been that one thing that I always think about. Sometimes the question of why doesn't necessarily need an answer.
You're not wrong. Though we wonder all the same. Such is the nature of curiosity, after all. There we go.
maybe next time I'll tell you the story of my mother's ancient past and the people in which we descended from.
I think I would enjoy that greatly.
Be well, Sariel.
In
May
Elvish.
twilight ever guide your path.
In Elvish. And may yours be fortuitous and blessed, Lady Q. Until we meet again.
Until then.
Ugh. Fuck. Ugh. Oh, that was good.
Freaking Luna. Being a spy in your chat. So when I was the one who triggered the nighttime.
Uh-huh. Wait, how did she get in the map then? What the fuck?
So, well, that's the thing. Our transitions are, you do it through a website. So we changed
Oh.
the website. It's so Luna, should she not be able to be in the map, but she wants something to happen, she can do it without being in the map.
Oh my word. Luna, you sneaky
Plus,
woman.
If for whatever reason there was multiple instances the same map, it'd be synced across all versions.
Oh, that makes sense.
She has since abandoned the chat, I know, because she said to me about about 45 minutes ago. She's like, "You're on your own now, sis."
Understood.
When I had said I felt like someone's giving me shades, it was me acknowledging, because she sent me a gif of her lurking, like a guy lurking with shades on.
So I thought I thought it was coffee.
being-
I thought it was coffee in your chat that said that, because he's always the one who has shades in Heaven's Reach. And I was like, oh, maybe it's coffee. Lurking in your chat.
No.
That would have been funny though.
No, she was talking to me in DMs, and that was me acknowledging that I recognize, I was looking at the DMs. So when I was like, I can't remember her name, she sent me the name. I was like,
There you go.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, no, I figured someone sent it to you. I just didn't know who it was.
Yeah, it was,
That's funny though. I get to check on my chat. Let's see. Can't wait to see Sariel angry with her claws out and covered in someone else's blood. I mean, yeah. Yeah. I think the blood toggle is going to work for that at some point. It needs to. I think there might need to be a separate toggle for that, but yeah. Yeah, she's that would be. That'll happen. It will happen. Actually, technically it has happened. It's just not on screen. Not yet, at least. She has definitely killed. I mean, she has definitely killed.
Yeah. Soon you'll want to bloody your claws with this face.
Probably. So Rail. How did you not realize she was a dragon, Rail? What? I've said it like I guess you must have missed me saying it multiple times. No, yeah. Yeah, she's a dragon elf, Rail. That's what her species is. She's a dragon elf. That is what she and her siblings are.
And they were like, Annabelle, correct me if I'm wrong, but is that the name of his
Yup.
sisters?
Yup.
I wonder who it is.
Yeah, gee. Yup. No, yeah. So yeah. Sariel has 3 sisters, 2 brothers. Which I'm glad I actually got to finally list off their names, which is nice. And how old they are.
Yeah, I was like, that's actually a very good point. Who are your siblings?
Well, there you go. I'll have, and if you want to see the doc, I have part of the document up, but the rest of it I'm hiding for obvious reasons. But yeah, so I have all their names and how old they are and what affinity they were, and like a little bit of a kind of like how they are to each other. So, Celine is the eldest at nearly 1800 years old. She's the water dragon. She's basically the elder sister to everyone. She was the first of the dragon elves. Then Latha, the fire dragon, who's 1,124 years old, and she's the guardian sister. Kvesin is the air dragon. He is 804 and the first of the brothers. And then Ayin is the twin brother, who is the earth dragon. And Yela, who's the ice dragon twin to Ayin. And they're both 482. And then Sariel is 99, who is the storm dragon. Fun things. Fun lore stuff. Oh, that makes sense, Ro. Fair enough.
Oh, what is he? Where is he? Oh.
Well.
Hammerskis in.
Oh shit! Are they actually?
They're in Amarat.
Hell yes! I need to.
Amarat.
Hold on. I need to pull this up now. A rabbit attempts to destroy an old man. Nice. Ooh. They're getting close.
Yeah.
I need to tell Bibis at some point. It's like the theme of Amarat. Ingrain it into your brain. It has. There are reasons for it. But yeah, I very much enjoyed that, Kimmy. I had a lot of fun with that.
I am happy.
Yeah, I hope you enjoyed that as well. I'm hearing more on Sariel's side of things.
Oh, I am always happy to hear other people's stories.
She still hasn't answered your biggest question. But then we know when that's gonna happen, so. Key.
Plans.
Indeed.
Plans within plans within plans.
Alright.
Now I must figure out if I had the right choice.
Oh, for what?
I'm gonna go see if I knew which orb is the last orb in the sequence.
Alright, I wanna join you for this. I wanna see this. Fuck it, we screw around with the orbs because we can.
Touch the forbidden jawbreakers.
I know, right? I mean, to be fair, I've come into the reach when the thing has been triggered, but I've never and I've seen Luna like redo the sequence, but I've never actually like seen like the full thing. So. Orbs do funny things. Yeah, they do.
Indubitably.
I will say though, the one thing I wish for this map is it didn't blow out the VRC camera. That is the one thing I wish it didn't do. I think it's one of the... If you look at my stream, you cannot see my character. My character is always on the right side. It's
Are you using transparency or something?
Yes. I have to. Otherwise, it's like a black box on the background. But I just use the small face mirror. But yeah. It's weird that it's the way that Luna designed the map. It's one of the shaders or something that she's used, and it basically does that. Because no other map does that. It's only this one. Well, it's only the maps that she designs for it.
That's really weird.
Yeah, I should bring that up to her and see. But I think it's literally one of her like post-processing shaders or something like that she uses. All right. You gonna go fuck around and find out?
Let's see. So this is the first one in sequence, so I'm thinking it's this one. That's the last one in the sequence.
And if you're wrong, then you have to go input them all, right?
If I'm wrong, then everything after the second one will disable. If I'm right, then only the last one will disable.
Well, time to find out for science.
For science.
Shiny glowy necklace that is distracting to go back and forth. Yeah. Oh. Oh, shit. Okay.
But yeah.
So, 1, 2, 3. So I see 3 of the worlds. Oh, there's another one there. That's 4. Oh, I can't even fall off there. Oh, okay. So I guess you can only see 4 of the 8?
Yeah, I think only 4, and I think there's 7.
Oh, yeah, 7 or something like that, yeah. Ugh.
That's what happened on the inside.
No, I think it's this one, Kimmy. This one's number 3. And then that one went down here. I believe it was this one. Okay, not that one. It's one of these two. I remember that. I think it's this one.
This one?
I think. Okay, maybe not. I'm trying to remember how it went. No, wait. Ah, you did that one already. It loops back. It loops backwards, I think. Oh, maybe it is that one. Oh, maybe. I think it loops backwards. Ugh.
Have you ever seen what happens while they're re-inputting?
Yeah, it outside it flickers, yeah.
Yeah, you've seen the lightning.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, I
The
came in
lightning will
when.
actually strike the island.
Oh fuck! I haven't actually seen the lightning strike the island, but I actually have come in when it was like when you guys were putting it back on once. I swear it was one of these, but I guess not. Because you did all 4 of these, so it has to be this. I think it's over here. I don't know if it's... Not that one, okay. Okay, this one then I think came back over here. No. I think it's this one, Kimmy. This one's number 5. I think this one's 5.
Oh.
Yeah, because it comes back down over this way and then it loops back and then loops back to the end. I swear it's one of these.
So it probably.
Okay, and then it looped back. I forget if it's this one or if it's that one. I don't know if it came back to this one or if it's over this one right here. Oh, there we go. Hey, we did it.
Hey.
Process of elimination.
And that's how normal. Yeah, that's. What's even crazier is that we've had to do that under pressure.
Yeah, because it's a time limit.
Where, well, more specifically, that's also the barrier to keep the in-betweeners out.
Mm-hmm. So the longer that you take, the more chance of them getting in to spawn.
Well, when the barrier was down at one point, they were coming in here.
Oh, I
And
remember
we had
hearing
to-
about
we
that.
had to
Yeah.
Yeah, we had to do a rush job while everyone else was defending the core and the portal.
Fun.
Drake says you're cute.
What the fuck? How dare ye? How dare? How dare? How dare? I disagree with that. I very much disagree with that.
Apparently they redeemed a 10K at one point, and you never called yourself a cutie.
No, it just means that they call me cute. I doesn't mean I admit that. Wait, when did they do that? What the fuck? When? When was this? It wasn't today.
What? It wasn't today.
Yeah, no.
Oh, yeah, it says Kelsey or cute.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I don't call myself that.
Yeah, it says call Seer Kate.
Yeah. I have sound bites in there too. I just turn them off because I don't need I don't want them going off during RP. Because it was more so when I had when I was doing a lot of gaming streams, I would have those active. But since I'm doing a lot more RP, so it's like there's no point in me turning those on. So
I had to turn off one of my redeems because people kept spamming it when I wasn't Annabelle, because it was a redeem for specifically Annabelle.
yeah. Hi, Drake. I see you.
Yeah, they are going to be heading out to go somewhere with their mom. Go to the convenience store with their mom.
Mm. Oh shit. Bibis is doing the scene with Hythlodaeus.
Wait, is that the one where they're sitting
Yep.
on the bench?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Hello, my new
One of my
old
favorite
friend.
ones.
God, she has no idea what's in store, and it's like getting to see this, like, and knowing, you know, what comes is you understand so much when you look back at it.
Nothing is more satisfying than 5.3 ending.
Not wrong. Not wrong. Reflection in tears.
Just this. You know, just seeing that I screamed when that happened.
Mm-hmm.
If you notice, you'll notice sometimes when Q's walking away, I'll do it.
I've caught it. I've caught it a couple times. Hold on. Let me turn that off. I've shown you this.
Yeah. It's also in your necklace.
Mm-hmm. And on her ring.
Oh yeah, it's on your ring too, yeah.
Yeah. It's funny, no one's actually commented on it. Not yet. But you know out of character, obviously, and Q knows. Yeah.
I always love playing on that. It's something that people who are pretty traveled understand.
Indeed. Yeah. I mean, when we had that first talk together, it's like you called it out immediately, and she's just like, I see. You're someone that understands. Herein I commit the chronicle of the traveler, shepherd to the stars in the dark. Though our souls be sundered, our world be sundered, and our souls set adrift, where you walk, my dearest friend, the light of hope shall surely follow. For yours is the 14th seat, the seat of Azem. Just change back into my girl. Oh my god. There we go.
When I said the Elvish speak that I was talking about, that's the elf speak from the Witcher world.
Yeah, I figured as much. Fare you well, my new old friend. May you find what it is you seek.
I already kind of feel I know exactly what's going to happen with that. This stuff confirms that, yes, Sam's
Yeah.
better cross reflection.
Curious that the ghost
Why do I feel
can
like
only
that
interact
is
with
related
you.
to a gut-wrenching thing? Smile.
Smile.
We are of the source.
My new old friend.
God, I love Neath Dark Waters. It's such a beautiful song.
There they go.
Wait for me!
Can you get out and push Hal?
Fun fact. You want to know a little secret?
Yeah, what's up?
I'm debating on having, you know how, or I don't know if you've been up there. Yeah, you went up there when they were showing off Hope's, their new house up there.
That was a long
So
time
you
ago,
know
but
how
yes.
when you go up, well, you know how you go up to Reese's Island
Mhm.
and it changes as well as the music changes?
Yeah.
I'm having Luna do the same to my island, and I was thinking of having Neath Dark Waters, the Science and
my
Sinners
God.
version.
Yes! Keiko's version is so good. I fucking love that version. It's so beautiful. Let me actually go and end stream because I want to ask you some stuff. Without chat knowing things. So I'm gonna go and send. Yeah, I'm gonna go send everyone over to Oblivious because you all should go and watch her go through the. I will say this: it's spoilers for Shadowbringers if you haven't gotten that far yet, but she is going to get to some amazing story stuff. So, with that, take care, everyone. Have a good rest of your night. Kimmy, thank you for the wonderful scene. I very much enjoyed it. And yeah, see you all tomorrow for the 14 RP. Good night.